Welcome back to Ender Academy. Today we are covering Tinker's Construct. It's a fairly complicated mod that allows you to make all sorts of amazing tools through a very intricate and very cool construction process. Now, I've built this building that will house everything, but before we get into Tinker's Construct, let me just take a moment to assess some changes around here. First of all, because I can read your mind, I know that you're probably thinking to yourself, "Hey, Connor chap, what's up with that crazy voice, eh? You didn't sound like this in previous episodes." Well, Master Roshi, let me explain. I am coming off of my annual Christmas cold, which means that my voice is a little bit trollish. So, I hope you don't mind that, but what are you gonna do? I just felt like recording, so deal with it all. And besides, this lets me do my sexy voice. Oh yeah, here on Ender Academy, we've also had a minor change in attire. Check out these classy mage robes. These are thaumaturge robes built out of the enchanted fabric that I researched here, in my very own patent-pending research station. I also enchanted them at the improved enchanting table down the stairs, so that they protect me from harm. And one of the cool things about all this protection and repair and stuff is not only will my armor essentially never break, but also Vigil here damages me a lot less when I teleport, meaning that I can teleport with near impunity, which is fairly awesome for an Enderman like me. I've never felt closer to my alien heritage, which is amazing. But enough of that. What we are here for today is covering Tinker's Construct. Actually, it does kind of hurt to teleport. I may have gone overboard there. Kitty, get out of my forge room. Go on, shoot. We're gonna be making some stuff. So Tinker's Construct, it is a mod that allows you to build more intricate crafting tables and patterns and stuff, and it allows you to build a giant forge which you can melt down ores into liquids with, and you can then pour them into casts to create tools. And you may be thinking to yourself, wait, you have diamond tools already, aren't those the best tools in the game? Well, it's true, diamond tools are very convenient, and they are much better than a lot of the Tinker's Construct tools, but it'll be worth it in the end to get to the high-end Tinker's Construct, or T-Construct as it's sometimes known, tools. So, run-on sentences aside, let's start building stuff. Do I have a crafting table here? No, let me just make one real quick. First thing is you can turn a crafting table into a slightly better crafting station. This is essentially exactly like a crafting table, except it lets you leave items in it. So if I drop some ink sacs, that did not work. Oh my gosh, I'm failing. If I drop some ink sacs in there, they stay in the crafting table as opposed to being vomited out on the ground. Now, on to the more interesting stuff. We need to start building tool patterns. So what I'm going to do is make a whole bunch of these things if I can click with my mouse, which I can't. Okay, these are blank patterns. We're going to make a whole bunch of them. Achievement get! Thank you, achievement. You make me feel like this menial task is more important than it actually is. So, we need to make a stencil table, and we need to make a pattern chest, and we need to make that's also a stencil table. Oh, that was a tool station. I'm so smart. And finally, a part builder. It gave me this book. I don't know why. I don't want this book. I'm going to throw it into this chest. Okay, so first we need to set up our stencil table, pattern chest, and tool station. No, not tool station, part builder. So let me just put these on my hotbar. Now, the stencil table, I believe, we will only need to use right here at the beginning. So we're going to put the pattern chest down, put the part builder right next to the pattern chest. You can see when you have these two next to each other, you can access the pattern chest from the part builder, which is a lot more convenient than going back and forth between the chests. I'll explain what these two do in a minute. We also want to make our stencil table, which we don't technically need to have right next to the pattern chest, so I'll just move it over here. That thing we're hardly ever going to use. In fact, all we're really going to use it for right now is turning these blank patterns into tool patterns. So this is something that you will probably only ever need to do once, unless you need to set up multiple bases with multiple crafting stations. So essentially we're going to take out all of these patterns, these patterns are going to allow us to craft specific item parts later on. So I'll just speed through this real quick. Okay, we're done. We've put all of our patterns into this pattern chest. Now the next step, I believe, is we need to build a forge here. I'm actually going to set some stuff going for that so we can come back to it later. Let me just run over and get that going. So if you didn't already have all these resources prepared, you probably would put off making grout and stuff until later, but we're going to do it right now. This is a recipe for grout. There's, I think, an alternate recipe as well. Come on, gimme the grout. You are not giving me the grout. Project Bench, why have you forsaken me? Can I take anything out of you? No! Okay, screw it. This Project Bench does not like us. We are using a normal, different crafting table. Here we go. Much more reliable. Now we're going to take all of this grout, which took quite a while to gather up. We're going to put it into our smelting facility, which I built a long time ago, and I just don't think I've really showed it off. It's all hopper powered. I know hoppers are a lot more expensive than all the Buildcraft stuff, but what can I say? I like hoppers. So we're going to set all this smelting so that later we can come back to it when we build our smeltery. But now we're going to build wooden components for tools. The essential premise of this mod is that instead of just throwing raw materials onto a crafting bench and immediately getting tools, you build individual separate components for all of the tools using these stencils and later on using casts and things, and it doesn't actually look like I have all the stencils that I need. I don't see a pickaxe head anywhere in there. So we're going to need to go back into the table and make some more. Okay, we now have everything we need. So next step, I'm going to show you the basics of how you can make a tool, and I'm going to use wood to do it. This is going to be a very crappy tool. We are going to make, how about a long sword? So basically just put the stencil in here, put the material in there, and you get that. I could also put it up here, I think. I don't really get why it has an ingot thing here and a block thing there. It doesn't make much of a difference to me. But anyway, we've got a wooden sword blade. Let's grab a handguard over here. See, sometimes it gives you extra materials like a stick or a shard of material. And then I believe we need a tool rod. These are very common. I can just make that straight out of a stick. It's practically the same thing. So, now I've got all these components and we need to assemble them on the tool station. Once our grout is smelted, we can improve this tool station with a heck ton of iron to make it more upgraded so it can make a bigger variety of tools. Currently, these are the only tools we have. This is the improvement screen where you can like put a fully completed tool here and improve it with other materials. We'll get to that later. You can see all the different tools here. It'll tell you what you need over here. We are currently making a long sword because a long sword is, to me, very similar to a katana, at least the way it looks in this mod pack. That looks kind of like a katana. Looks pretty similar to my katana over here. I lost my diamond boomerang in the nether. That's a problem. But I replaced it with a katana, so I guess that's okay. So, this wooden longsword, if I craft it right now, it'll just be called longsword. But what you can do is you can name your tools when you craft them. So I will name this training katana. Grab that out of there, and now we have prepared to fight. Not yet. This is a wooden katana, or I guess longsword, but I called it a katana because I like being a samurai. So as you can see, different tools in this mod have different special abilities. This longsword ability is that instead of blocking with right click, you pull back, it does a little charge attack. How the longsword works is when you are sprinting, you deal extra damage, and then when you do this charge attack, you do extra damage when you hit with it. And you can jump even further if you leap and then release. That was a pretty huge leap. I like this sword. Can I jump up onto the roof? Yes, I can. So, remarkably, the longsword is actually just a great navigation tool, even without using it in combat. Even this wooden katana is very, very useful. Sorry, food is really loud. I don't like talking over eating. So now you know how to assemble a tool. These tools, made with Tinker's Construct, will never break. Instead, when the durability runs out, it'll just be useless until you repair it in the tool forge. So just pretend that it has lower durability than it does now, we can come over to the tool forge and plunk it in there with some wood, and that would theoretically repair it. If it was broken, which it's not. This tool forge does not work with normal items. Nothing works when you put it in there, so just don't waste your time. Next up, we're going to make wooden components of every single one of these components. I'm not going to explain why just yet, but trust me when I say we'll need them later. Also, I'm going to empty out all this junk from my inventory. Goodbye! Okay, I've run out of wood. Each one of these patterns has a different material cost, so you can see an arrowhead is only 1, a basic tool binding is actually half of whatever you're building it out of, but then other things like, say, the large plate or the hammerhead cost 8, so I'm going to grab some more wood really quickly. We're making patterns out of all of these except for the bowstring and the fletching. We won't need those patterns because what we're using these basic wooden components for is we're going to use them to make casts for metal tools. You can't make things out of metal and stuff like that just using the basic tool forge. You'll need something better. You need to actually pour the liquid metal into casts, so that's what we're going to use all these basic wooden components for fairly soon. Okay, we've got all these wooden components. Let's throw them into a chest. I will throw them into this one, I guess. Would you look at all these pretty components? I made an extra wooden binding. Don't care. Now hopefully our grout is mostly done by now. It doesn't look like it. We've still got a long way to go. Luckily, I smelted a lot of these bricks beforehand. It's like a cooking show. And here I prepared earlier some more smelted bricks. Lovely. So seared bricks. These are what we're going to use to build our smeltery and also upgrade our tool forge. Going to need, what do we need? Is it iron blocks? Hopefully we have some of those. We do. We're going to turn a stack of these into seared brick blocks. We're going to sleep through the night so that we don't die while we're crafting. Mr. Roth here is not following anything that we are doing right now. We are just above his level. It's above your level, Tim. Okay, let's go. Tool station, your time has come. It is time for you to evolve into your second form. Dun dun dun! The tool forge. This will allow us to build more varied tools. You can see we have more stuff here, like, say, where is it? Hammer. I really want to make one of these. And also the clava, essentially the buster sword. We're also going to make one of those. So, currently, we can make tools out of wood and stone and flint and cactus and basically bugger all. We want to make better tools, and to do that we are going to create an epic construction right here called the smeltery. So to do that we are going to need a lot of seared bricks. I'm going to grab some glass out of my smeltery over here. I should stop calling this the smeltery, I'll just call it the furnace room or something. More seared bricks. These are the main building components of the smeltery. We're also going to make some seared windows, I believe, which are made like that. And then we need to make all the specific little parts of the smeltery. So to do that, first you need your smeltery controller. This is where you put in the ores that you're going to smelt. It's where you control what you're pouring out of it and all that kind of stuff. By the way, you've probably noticed that this episode is jumpier than usual in the editing. That's because I'm cutting out all the times that I cough. Now, I've completely forgotten the recipes for this because I'm so smart, so I'll check it in this mighty smelting book. I'll show you the books later. Wow, this is slightly over broken. Let's see what the recipe, it does not say. Yes, it does. So we've got our controller, we need our drains, we need our seared tanks, we've got all that. I don't know what the difference is between the seared glass and the seared window. I don't think there really is one, except this is designed to be in large panels and this is just designed to be one. We need some faucets, casting table, casting basin, all that is just fine. Let's go! Couple of tanks, a bunch of drains, some casting basins, and I think we only really need one casting table for now. Then we're going to make some faucets, We made too many faucets, but I don't care. It is time to build our smeltery. So I'll show you how to build the base of it. Actually, just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna make more seared bricks, because this thing I've decided is going to be massive. Now the first thing you want to do is lay down a 3x3 of seared brick. This is a structure that once you build it, it will recognize what it is. These blocks here can be anything. I'm just going to also make them seared brick because I've got tons of this stuff. But technically you can put whatever you want there. It's not recognized as part of the structure. Now where do we want our smeltery controller? I think we're going to want to put that right here. So the way I'm going to set this up, basically you need your smeltery controller and at least one seared tank on the same level of your construction. Doesn't really matter what level, I think. Don't quote me on that. Citation needed. Next, actually, wait. We want drains and windows here. So the drains are how you actually get the material out of this thing. We're going to put 6 of them around here. And you essentially need to close up this entire thing with either drains, windows, this seared glass, or seared bricks. We're going to use seared glass so we can see all the delicious melted ores inside. And once you have at least this space here, you can see the controller is now turned on, and we can access it. This is where you put in your ores. They will slowly melt and create liquid in this tank that we will also be able to see in here. Now as for how much stuff it can process, it has 9 inventory slots per layer of the construction. That's how it works. But theoretically, you can just keep adding layers and layers onto this and make it as tall as you want. That's what the book said anyways, that it can be as tall as you want. I took them to heart, and I hollowed out the mountain above it, and we are going to make this as tall as we possibly can. We can use our little training katana to jump up on top of it. Whoop, overshot. We're gonna need to learn to get better at this. Okay, without further ado, let's build ourselves a smeltery. Okay, I think that's as tall as we can get it right now. Obviously we have a lot more space to grow, so it's a good thing that I have all that extra grout in there. But for now, for this episode, this is gonna be fine. Now, I think I'm just gonna mine out of my own smeltery. Fantastic. So we've got this huge freaking column in the middle of our forge that will go, whoop, sorry Arcane Levitator, did not mean to step on you. Is there a zombie around here? Now for the final touches, we've got our casting basins, which I'm just going to put around here. And we've got our casting table. This is the main thing that we use to actually make the tools. I'll put that right here. And then on these drains, we can put these little faucets, and right-clicking these faucets will drain out whatever's at the bottom of this here tank. I'm going to make more casting basins and tables later, and also make some channels so that one faucet can flow out along channels and fill multiple things. But we'll get to that later. The final step is these seared tanks right here. We need to fill them with lava, otherwise this will have no fuel. So we're going to go fill up some buckets with lava and then be right back. Here's some lava. Lovely. Let's just get 5 buckets of this stuff. That'll be great.
Hey, you know what I like? Transitions!
Alright, we've got our precious lava. We can now plunk it into these tanks. It'll be an uneven distribution, but oh well, I'm okay with that. I'm an American. So, now we've got lava in the tank. All we need to do is fill this with ores and start a-melting. Check out all the ores we have. Now I've specifically left these unsmelted because, hang on a sec, we don't want to melt uranium in there, that would be bad. And also Cinnabar, I don't think you'll be joining us on this trip. Like, those 3 people that love you, it's down to like 2.5, and one of them I think quit the job, so yeah, sorry Cinnabar, you are mostly unloved. So, when you smelt... Thank you for interrupting me, Bread. When you smelt stuff in the smeltery from ore, it doubles the results. So it's very, very efficient to just smelt everything straight from the ore in the smeltery. It uses lava. The only drawback from using furnaces and stuff like that is that it uses lava, obviously, and you don't get experience. But that is okay. So we will start with the iron. Now you can see we have a huge capacity on the smeltery, so we can smelt lots of stuff at the same time. And also in here you can see the iron block texture has filled this up, fairly high up. That will soon turn into molten iron, which if I am not mistaken is red. Alright, we've got our first little bits of molten iron here. Whoa, you can see 140 ingots worth of iron. And if we go around to this little window, there it all is, molten iron. So we can either pour that into the casting table or into the basins, and since we don't have any casts and we don't want to cast any parts out of iron, we're just going to turn all of this iron into blocks. So we'll pour it out, it'll start filling these basins, the contents of the basins will cool off, and we will have ourselves iron blocks. Wait for it to fill up, cools off very quickly because this is Minecraft. Aha! Iron blocks. Now later on I'm going to build casting channels and things like that so we can just hit one faucet and drain it off into a big wide line of basins over here. But currently, just checking for creepers, sorry. Currently I don't feel like spending the time to do that. This one stopped for some reason. Now an important thing with these casting basins is you want to make sure that you actually have a full 9 ingots worth left before you start filling a casting basin. Otherwise, you'll fill it part way and you'll need to go and find more of that kind of metal to melt down to finish up the block, because you can't get it back out of the casting basin. At least not that I know of, without maybe buildcraft stuff. Maybe that would work. But buildcraft stuff is frowned upon when you are using T-Construct. Okay, so that's going to be 3 more of these, and then we're going to want to empty the rest of the iron into a casting basin with an ingot cast. But unfortunately we can't make casts just yet because we need to melt down some gold or aluminum brass and use that to make the casts. Now, how do you make aluminum brass? Well, you can make alloys in this furnace by putting multiple kinds of ores into the thing. Now we've got tons of aluminum, tons of copper, and if we just check in this book, we can see what the alloys actually are. Okay, aluminum brass made from 3 aluminum and 1 copper. So we're going to put 3 times as much aluminum as copper into the smeltery and just make a ton of aluminum brass. Actually, should we make that much? I think that might be too much. We don't want to waste all of our materials on that. So we'll put half a stack of that and 1.5 stacks of that. Oh wow, it actually filled up. Huh. We need more space. Oh no. Well, we'll make some aluminum brass and then figure the rest out later. And you can see my iron is still here. The aluminum brass and the excess copper that we have in there will be melted and land on top of all this. It is an automatic process when you have, oh wow, that's a lot of aluminum. When you have compatible ores together on top of each other, they will automatically be mixed into an alloy. So here we should see aluminum brass. We've got 200 ingots worth. We hardly have any molten copper left. Put 20 aluminum in there. I'm sure that'll solve everything. Now, this is where all those wooden components that we made comes in. Is it too dark over here? I think it is. I'm going to put some more torches up. So we're going to drop off all of our ores into this chest and fill our inventory with all of these things. Because we are going to make casts out of these by putting them on the casting table and then pouring aluminum brass onto it. Now you can rearrange stuff in here by clicking on specific things, and that'll send it to the bottom, that particular thing of liquid. It'll send it to the bottom of the thing. That is not in the 1.5 version, by the way, so if you play Hexit and want to use T-Construct, you will not be able to rearrange your liquid metal by clicking it, which is quite a shame. It's an excellent feature that they've added in recently. Alright, before creating these components, we're going to need to sleep again. Also, to make my frame rate better, I am going to turn off particles and maybe set graphics down to fast a little bit, because I think we need a better frame rate for this episode. Oh, that's so much better. So much better. Okay. Of course, it's going to mess up some graphical things. I wonder how the Forge looks with fast graphics. It looks fine. That's totally fine. Now, let's start making all these components. Basically, plunk something down here, pour out the aluminum brass. You can also use gold for this, but obviously that's more expensive. So now we have an arrowhead cast, and we are going to do that with every single one of these things, and do it with an ingot, so that later on we can make ingots. Gotta empty out some space, all the stuff that I've already made into cast. This is going to fill up my inventory like crazy. Normally, you wouldn't do this all in one go. You'd like do it incrementally as needed, but I'm just deciding to make everything right off the bat so that I can have it whenever I want. Why the wood does not get incinerated by the lava and the molten metal that you're pouring into it over and over, I have no clue. Do not ask.
That's Minecraft physics, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah.
Okay, that is every single tool cast made that I will ever need. I'll never need to do that again. That is a pretty nice feeling, and I've still got... Maybe I made too much aluminum brass. I'll admit it. I think I made a little too much, so I'm going to need to turn it into blocks. I could also make ingots if I wanted, using my ingot cast. Now we're going to want to put these nearby this casting table, so I'm actually going to put a chest or something right there. In fact, I wonder if I can make a hungry chest. Where's my Thaumonomicon? I can't find it anywhere. Oh, by the way, yeah, lost books, everybody. It gets to be kind of a problem storing them. I ended up needing to turn down the drop rate quite a bit. Also, I'm actually working on writing some lost books for the mod that I'm considering sending to the mod creator, because the mod creator said that they wanted more books to be added to their collection of possible drops. So, where is my Thaumonomicon? I must have dropped it in the chest back in the smeltery. Wow, these aluminum brass blocks actually look really cool. I like them. They could be useful for building materials, maybe, now that I have it. Here you are. I know I've been spending a lot of time on Thaumcraft because it's a huge mod, let's be honest. So that's kind of why I felt like taking a break from it briefly to do all this other stuff. I've unlocked so much research. So much research. It is insane. Okay, where's that hungry chest? Is it here? Okay, that is just planks and a trapdoor. I should be able to make that real quick. Here we go. We're going to make a couple of hungry chests. Oh, one thing that I've discovered is that wands are more efficient for crafting when you take off the wand focus. So, tips of the trade, everybody. Alright, let's make 2 of these. There we go. I've got plenty of essences in my wand, and the thaumium tips mean that it naturally regenerates all kinds of primal aspects of vis over time. Very, very, very slowly, obviously. Okay, so we'll fill this hungry chest with all of the different patterns, and this means that we are now ready to make metal tools. So I could try making some steel tools or some bronze tools or something like that, but first off, after I finish emptying out all this alumite, or no, alumisteel, aluminum brass it's called, I was calling it totally the wrong thing just there. Actually, technically I could leave a lot of it in, because next up we want to make a fairly high-end alloy, which, if I am not mistaken, is called alumite. You can see the damage increasing as we continue sharpening it against quartz crystals. This is going to be one of the sharpest swords in the universe.